fine and healthy to treat your patient in this season of contaminated disease. Keep learning, keep healthy. So let's continue our learning. Last time we had started a topic of differentiating various materia medica remedies, rule in and rule out points. So last time we had discussed almost 30-35 remedies in various headings. So we will continue that study today with Dr. Dharmesh Savaj, and additionally we will going to discuss few other points like differentiating acute and chronic cases, and also the concept of dominant miasm, and there are few points of mind and pathology in which will going to help you in advanced cases like genetic disorder and autoimmune disorders. So there will be lots of learning today. So let's begin with Dr. Dharmesh Savaj. Give him a big round of applause.
Good afternoon, friends. Let's begin our session. Thank you, DC, for the introduction. Shall we start?
Yes.
So we are on the topic differentiation of different remedy, and we discussed many remedies in the first session, right? And we arrived to the particular point for the remedy for selection on the basis of differentiation. Now, so let's begin the second session, continuation of our current topic. I would like to discuss today the point of differentiation, especially in acute as well as in chronic. In previous slide also I clubbed together on this current topic. Now onwards I just differentiated the points in the acute cases as well as in chronic cases, because the presentation and the scenario of treating the case of acute as well as chronic means our approach to the case is different. As a predictive homeopath, our approach is definitely different as per sir. In acute cases and in chronic cases, in acute cases we see the change reaction. In chronic cases, we see the miasm as a base. And one of the topic that I am learning, I am also share with some of my friends, a dominant miasm as a trait. Means this topic means this concept helps in the triamiasmatic view of the particular remedy. Also suggests the trait, the prognosis of the case, and we can learn materia medica easily on the triamiasmatic basis if we know the dominance of that particular remedy. Like some are principally a soric, some are psychotic remedies, some are syphilitic, right? So the concern is in acute cases the differentiation is little bit different. The point of consideration in acute cases is little bit different. In the chronic cases it is different. In acute cases we see the changes, the change what happens in the case since the patient is healthy, the elements from the change in the generals, the change in the behavior pattern, acute change. So same remedy, the presentation is acute phase, act as a acute remedy or the phase remedy, we can call as a pathological simillimum. For that particular case, like example lycopodium in acute phase, it act as an acute remedy also, and lycopodium act as a constitutional or genetic also. So the trait of lycopodium in acute being different, or in different type of chronic cases on the basis of miasm, the lycopodium is different. So in acute cases we see the change, what that happens, and take the particular point means acute sensitivity and acute reaction. We are taking in the acute case. In chronic cases we definitely take That changes, but that changes is according to the case. On the basis of miasm principle, it is soric or psychotic or syphilitic. The dispositional trait, particularly in the chronic cases, we have some points we have discussed in previous remedies, especially in the chronic cases. And syphilitic, most destructive miasmatic syphilis or psychotic, if it is genetic, we can take it as a reaction, means syphilitic reaction. Syphilitic ma the higher syphilis we are taking. So the point of differentiation is bit different. Now the concept of the dominance means I said that some remedies are principally soric, some are psychotic, some are syphilitic. એક મટીરિયલ મેડિકા લર્ન કરવા માટે ટ્રાયમેસ્મેટિક લર્ન કરવા માટે બહુ ઈઝી અપ્રોચ છે. Sir, as sir has said, everything is in round. The journey starts from sora, previously it is syphilis, then it goes to psychosis, then it goes to syphilis. Right? So let's take some example. Consolation, this is an example of, I take a pulsatilla, I take an example of pulsatilla. So we know by sir's key point, pulsatilla is the remedy, where rule in point is mesmerism, magnetism, or consolation ameliorates. So many times if we find this, we can prescribe pulsatilla. So this is a trait. Now this is psychosis. Anything which is amelioration, craves affection is psychosis. So pulsatilla by dominantly it is a psychotic remedy. Now this is the psychotic state. So we definitely see triamasmatically if this is a psychotic, some has to be precursor, like something has to be there soric. If we know this is a dominance, it could be a very differentiating point in a case, and from that we can know the syphilis of the person. Many a time syphilitic reaction, whatever physical syphilis or mental syphilis, it is like a tip of iceberg. જે પણ દેખાય છે તે નથી હોતું. There is a many thing hidden inside. So like audacious like aurum means if the person is looking like aurum in syphilis, pulsatilla is also like that. But the key point makes the domination, means that emotional vulnerability, that sensitivity remains. So what the point is, sora, if we make the sora and syphilis, sora is exactly reverse of syphilis and syphilis is exactly reverse of sora, right? So aurum je છે પહેલેથી જ courageous અને strong હશે. Pulsatilla is bound to become, right, because of not getting affection and attention, right? So this is the base and this is a sora. Of course we are knowing that soric, this is a genesis. We can know it from the trait, we can know it from the past history, we can know it from the family history, from the childhood. કે ભાઈ childhood માં patient કેવું છે, sorically the soric trait is different from individual to individual. So this is a genesis. Like pulsatilla is dull, slow, timid, sensitive, changeability and confusion. This is runs through typical journey from, like we identify the ODP of pulsatilla, it is from sora to psychosis to syphilis, right? If they get hurt, they come into psychosis, amelioration. In syphilis, the affection, the attention will go, right? It can be goes to out of control. So we, in syphilis we find there is a delirium hysterical, means they go out of control for attention. They can go into heedless, careless, but this will remain. So on the concept of if you know the dominant miasm and the genesis, you can treat any syphilitic cases, which is a very differentiating point in a case. Like example, another example we take staphysagria, right? So as per sir, key point is, what is the rule in point for staphysagria? Dignity, right? Sensitive to insult, honor. So this sensitivity and dignity is a soric phase. This runs through the whole. If we treat the autoimmune syphilis, there is a shades of dignity, right? So principally the Staphylococcus aureus is sorosyphilitic. Obviously, the Staphylococcus aureus has a soric phase, psychotic phase, and syphilitic phase. But the sorosyphilitic phase is very prominent in Staphylococcus aureus. Like example, take mercury. What is the dominant miasm of mercury? So something is coming in our mind that what makes the mercury syphilis? Syphilitic? Injustice cannot support, and the immediate reaction is defiance, right? So it is come to nearer to this, like this is a psychosis, this is soric, or this is syphilis. Mercury stands here, injustice cannot support to defiance. So this is psychotic, immediately going into syphilis. But mercury is preeminently, if you go into the sora, they are born syphilitic because they are very toxic, unstable. So this instability, the destruction is by born oil. So if you acquire the childhood and the early history, you can come to the mercury. Syphilitic part remains many times same. Tuberculinum same lage, tarantula same lage, mercury same lage, restlessness, destructive. But you acquire the sora as well as the dominant phase of that key point as Sir has confirmed, very differentiating point to be considered. Right? So, any confusion? Right? So, we have to understand the sora, we have to understand the dominant, that particular point. In the differentiation totality, there are many remedies. It could be psychotic, it could be syphilitic, but according to the case and according to the tri-miasmatic understanding of the case, we can differentiate, especially in the chronic cases. This is very helpful. So some are many identical to the case, but if we know these points, many times this is a ruling point for pulsatilla, but આપણને એવું લાગે કે આ તો syphilitic case છે, pulsatilla cover કરશે કે નહીં. So if we know the tri-miasmatic facet of that remedy from the childhood, from the proper ODP, from the history, we can prescribe pulsatilla in a highly syphilitic cases, right? So mild attention-seeking lady can be audacious, can be defiant, but that inner base remains the same. Like if they are very strong looking like aurum, but aurum is strong by the birth. Pulsatilla is not, right? And pulsatilla has that emotional vulnerability remains the same. So whatever the dominance, they easily go into syphilis. If they are predominantly syphilis, like mercury, if they are predominantly syphilic, they go into syphilis fast. They go into the higher syphilis very fast, right? So many a time it is indicated in highly syphilitic cases. Got the point? So some are prominently soric, some are prominently psychotic, and some are prominently syphilitic. We have to differentiate. Right? On the basis of intellect, will, morals, emotions, and sensitivity. So they are changeable up to the marks. In psychotic, they are a little bit stable or hidden, and in syphilitic, the changeability goes out of control. It could be any emotions, it could be any symptoms, it could be a cells, it could be a behavior, it could be intellect. So immediately they lose the control. Any emotion goes to hysterical. So many hysterical remedies or hysterical symptoms we find pulsatilla, right? Moral, will and intellect, they are dull. So according to that intellect, they goes into psychosis and syphilis. Will weak, according to they go indecisiveness, dependency, yielding, and in syphilis, either they just lost the control or either they just reacting. But because of weak will, they are not reacting. So they have become careless, looks like sulfur, looks like baryta, but this is the prominent state of, because they are prominently psychotic. Bad morals, look selfish, emotional manipulative, consolation emulates, in syphilis, clinging, because of they want attention, they want motherly love. So in selfish and manipulative, tarantula, ophidia જેવું લાગે, but they are emotional. Those people are intellectual manipulative, like legacies and tarantula, intellectually manipulative, right? So they use emotion as a defense from Sora, psychosis. Emotions, as a vegetable, they are sensitive, very sensitive. So this sensitivity hidden, or so they crave affection, weeps and weeps. These are all getting the emotions. Syphilis, either there is no emotions, they look practical or bold like metal, but that sensitivity and emotional vulnerability remains. Right? So if we know the triamismatic, we can easily differentiate the case. We continue our differentiation. As per synchronization with the Sir in theory of acutes, we have started with the very compromised intellect, drowsiness, dullness. We continue in that fashion from opium to now phosphorus. The acute presentation is chilly, thirsty, dull, and the trait is reciprocal love, which helps many a time in acute as well as in chronic cases. Right? For phosphorus, reciprocal give and take. હું તમને આપું, તમે મને આપો. Right? You give me and I want in return. So for survival, affection and love is a rule for phosphorus. Basic need as Sir has given. Reciprocalness in love and care and affection. As I give you, you must return. So phosphorus, when the love is compromised, they are into the problem. Right? Love is seen in brilliant, sparkling, charming eyes. આપણે ખબર છે phosphorus આવે ત્યાં જ ખબર પડી જાય કે ક્લિનિકમાં phosphorus આવ્યું છે. વેરી ચાર્મિંગ, સામે જ એમ થાય કે કંઈક અફેક્શન આપીએ. So there is aura, there is a behavior. We can find out કેટલું charming, lovable. So this is the attribute of phosphorus by genetically programmed. બધાના aura એવા નહીં હોય. We find the ophidian aura, we find the vegetable, we find the metallic aura is different. So love is seen in brilliant, sparkling, charming eyes. મસ્ત આંખ હોય. Other remedies, make self elapse. Right? Magnesium, very good eyes. They don't show the affection, but સામેવાળાને ખ્યાલ આવી જાય. Like phosphorus, very nearby. Everything is too open and impressionable and communicative. So we go by into the genes. It is also expressive, because Sir has categorized phosphorus mostly extroverted personality. Right? So everything is too open. It's if the wound it is open, if it is pathology it is open, if it is genetic mutations or whatever expression is also open. Right? The behavior, the personality is very open, communicative, loquacious, talkative, extrovertedness. It has a sensitivity like vegetables, very sensitive to all impressions. Highly flexible personality. We see in fluoric acid, the buoyancy, phosphorus is also flexible, but the aura of phosphorus and fluoric acid is different. These people are too much attached. And acid floors people are too much detached, right? But on the face, the triamismatic આપણે study કર્યું, we have to every time clear the whys in each and every point, everywhere in clinics, in camps. Sir always check the why this behavior, why this pathology, why these symptoms, why this delirium. Every time we have to confirm the why this person is. So that makes the differentiation of individual. icy coldness, refreshing, juicy things, acute conformation. We see acute differentiation and chronic differentiation. So change in thermals, change in desire and aversions, change in any symptoms and pathologies, that is very helpful in the in rule in, rule out in the acute cases. Burning, of course we know burns for sulfur, burns for phosphorus, burning heats, but if it is in the spot or if it is in the particular part, it is syphilitic, it could be sorosyphilitic, or it could be in a very syphilitic phase like cancers. Burning on the spot we can prescribe. Sir, amuk point par જ burn થાય છે. So there is very differentiating feature, important feature of phosphorus. Sympathetic, affectionless. So these are storically, right? Carcinosin is also like that, pulsatilla is also like that, ignatia is also like that. So there are many remedy, magnesium, naja, all are sympathetic and affectionate. This is psychosis. But we go back to the precursor. What is the sora? By genetically they are affectionate, or they become affectionate, or they want to become affectionate. Make the differentiating point. Silica is also there, calcarea is also there. So that affection goes to desire to be magnetized, syphilitic, whatever the dynamic or material cosmic energy they want anyhow for the relief. So their people are genetically affectionate because the need is love, right? It continues through and throughout in the life phase. They are love sick like antimony, but in the syphilitic phase they just want magnetism, mesmerism, amelioration. They want hands continuously. This feature goes into clinging also, right? In syphilis, completely become closed and indifference, apathy, like sepia in syphilis. So phosphorus look like sepia, right? And say triamasmatically, the sora of phosphorus is different, and sepia, the sora of sepia is different. In syphilis, they look same. Phosphorus, acid phos, sepia looks same. But you acquire a little bit, you can differentiate what the phosphorus is, what the sepia is, and what the acid phos is. Sir, I kiddu jo elapse is phosphorus like, but the elapse quality is different, right? They have also charming eyes. We detailed discussed in the Ophidia. Then particular modality lying on the left side. In any pathology, better by sleep, even short sleep, catnap sleep. Mostly we see in the child, pediatric case માં બીજું કઈ નહીં મળે, ખાલી રોતું જ હોય. So if you acquire a little bit generals, we can find out these symptoms. ઉઠે છે સૂઈ જાય છે. Catnap sleep, very important. Sulfur is also there. So this is very helpful. Acute prescription. Yielding, clinging out of love and affection. Of course, the love is a need, like pulsatilla, but pulsatilla is more of slow, selfish, and introvert. So this is a genetic, that genesis journey we can see. Phosphorus is fast, selfless, and extrovert. As Sir categorized as a disposition Y. So this clears the Y of that particular individual. Right? Pulsatilla is more of selfish, phosphorus is all selfless. So this is a differentiating point. Both looking affectionate, wants affection, want attention, want companies. Even there looks exclusive. Pulsatilla is also like exclusive, want attention. But the differentiating point is this. So fast and expressive makes the phosphorus more syphilitic, right? And pulsatilla slow and all conservative, self-centered makes the pulsatilla more psychotic. Many differentiating point. If you clear the Y of that genesis of that remedy, by studying triamasmatic, you clearly differentiate the case. So childhood stands very important in every case. Of course, SCPH out of excitement and joy, कोफिया, right? घरे जाए, घरे आविए, daily hug करवा જોઈએ. So the hugging of reaction is excitement, right? In coffee is excitement. Coffee, blue can. Out of insecurity, stramonium and bismuth out of insecurity. They are very insecure, very fearful personality. So immediately they want the hugging and clinging. Out of frightened and fear of downward motions. If any individual going down and down and down, mostly forbidden remedy is borax, which is the fear. Actually, it is the fear. Actually happening fears. Goes to the syphilitic, fear of downward motion. Continuous fear of downward motion can be a delirium of borax. Leads to the reaction clinging. So one of the natrum out of frightened. So frightened and fear is the base. So fear and fright is the base of tumor, right? Cancer nowadays is flourishing like a flower. So borax is one of the cancer remedy. Watchfulness, vigilant, like, so they are very watchful. People are giving love or not, people are giving affection or not. I want to be communicative. People are in communication with or not, right? Hemabilis, SCPH માં એટલું હતું. Hemabilis, same remedy, bleeder છે, but passive bleeder છે, yet sharp intellect. Generally, venous affection and bleeder is introvert and dull intellect, except Hemabilis. Hemabilis has this rubric: comprehension, quick perception out of shape and size. So they quickly perceive in a very distant shape and size કે ભાઈ આ આવી રીતનું છે, દિવાલ પર આવી રીતનું fault છે. They clearly identify. So sharp intellect with passive bleeder is Hemabilis. Sharp intellect, active bleeder is Phosphorus, right? Watchfulness and vigilance we discussed in the opium and ophidia. Why they are vigilant? Why they are vigilant? Why they are vigilant? Vigilant પરથી કાલે એક માસી બહાર આવ્યા GBS માંથી. Why they are vigilant? Why opium is vigilant? Why ophidia vigilant? Video. See the eyes and face on intubation. દેખાય છે? See, immediately perceive the instruction given by the attendant and doctor. એમને એવું કીધું કે યુરિનનું કઈ સિગ્નલ હોય તો ત્યારે લેફ્ટ ચીક મૂવ કરવાની, રાઈટ ચીક મૂવ કરવાની. This the face and this head is conscious, rest is paralyzed. Because she has the motor pathology, GPS. The facial feature is quickly moving, the eyes quickly perceiving, because they immediately feel the threats, right? That's make the ophidia vigilant. Hemorrhage generally active. This is the pathological journal of phosphorus. You can prescribe phosphorus in any damn cases where there is નળની જેમ bleeding થતું. It's like a very fast, very active, very bleeder, bright red arterial bleed હોય, વધારે ટાઈમ નહીં આપણી પાસે. Any pathological, this is Allen's lines. Active hemorrhage like metrorrhagia, cancer, hemophilia or any genetic bleeding disorder, even hemoptysis in Cox, phosphorus is one of the remedy. As soon as the water becomes warm in the stomach, it is thrown up. During pregnancy also unable to drink the water. The sight of it cause vomiting, must close her eyes while bathing. right? So water is the base of life. It's a sora, right? Water is the basic need for life. But phosphorus માટે poison છે. બરાબર, જેવું પાણી જાય, simple water word વાપરેલો છે એલન સર. Water is immediately ejected. Even they cannot face the water in pregnancy also. During pregnancy, unable to drink water. So this is syphilis જે life માટે જે inimical છે એ આપણા માટે બહુ important છે as a predictive homeopath. Water is a poison for phosphorus. So anything which is related to life, which is inimical to life, syphilitic to, we directly get entry into these symptoms. Phosphorus. It antidotes the iodine and excess salt in the system. Last words in the relationship. Antidote એટલે generally thyroid cases માં radio iodine આપવામાં આવે, and then immediately patient succumb into the hypothyroidism, severe hypothyroidism, right? So on that acute phase you can give phosphorus because of this toxicity. As per sir, hot phosphorus TUB despite not in the rubric. Phosphorus constitution with hot in thermals, remedies TUB. As I earlier said, observation, from the observation you can also make out phosphorus very tall. First think of phosphorus. If the person is tall, calcarea phos, TUB, sulfur, creosote and phosphorus. Any tall person, because they have genetic attributes. Fair skin, obvious, very good looking, charming, because they throw love. Delicate eyelashes, you have to observe in pediatric. Blonde, fine, red hair. Quick perception, very sensitive natures. Eyelids puffy, swollen, edematous. So in CKD cases, the whole eye is inflamed. You can make out in acute presentation, acute bright disease or acute membranous nephritis or whatever acute pathology where there is edema around the eyes. Upper eyelid is calica, lower eyelid is jaundice. Adult who grow too rapid and inclined to stoop. Grow and stoop. Phosphorus, right? Walk stoop is sulfur. Rule out phosphorus if this feature are not there. Magnetism, amelioration. If you console the patient, you see the reaction. That charm is missing of phosphorus. But this is psychotic. Every time you not looking into કે ભાઈ એકદમ lively expression છે, સેપિયા જેવું થઈ જાય છે. They hidden all the emotions, they hidden all the affections. So, but by genetically, these attributes remains the same. The flavor of that charm could be differentiating, but phosphorus remains this because it is in genetics. Craves for warmth, and if the person is slow, don't prescribe phosphorus. Calcarea, inside line, chilly, trusty, dull, like phosphorus. But confusion is a key. They're confused, right? The basic sensitivity that runs throughout the life is confusion that people will observe. We know that what the people think, લોકો શું વિચારે છે, right? In some ઘણી બિરાદરમાં this is common, right? Many people what they are thinking of, what the opinion of, what the laugh of, critics, reproaches. So એનું fear, એનું delusion, એનું delirium પણ આ એવી રીતે જશે આગળ. At that point goes to delusions, right? So delusion critics, delusion insulted, right? Delusion reproachful, delirium reproachful. Desire magnetism and mesmerism, but calcarea needs support. Right? Silica and Crotalus cascarina. Obviously, safety and stability we detailedly discuss in the next slide. Phosphorus is for love, need. Because of love, they want the affection. Silica also support, but the differentiation of silica, differentiation of stability of calcarea and silica is different. We detail discuss. Inclined to spiritualism, dynamism and development. Nowadays is a very common, right? સોલો જર્ની, બરાબર, કોઈ અલૌકિક જગ્યાએ જઈને સેલ્ફ ડેવલપમેન્ટ એન્ડ રીચ ટુ ધ ગોડ્સ એન્ડ many processes. But sir has said why these people are doing, right? Why they are attached, strong attachment to this spiritual development. एक डॉक्टर आनंद नो कोई केस है तो एक टॉन्सिलाइटिस हो, ड्रीम illumination, dreams illuminating. So those people who are devoted to more spiritualism and dynamism, right? If the Ophidian quality you found, you can describe the most hypochondriacal, dynamic, magnetic snake, that is Crotalus cascavel. Clinging to the parents, of course, calcarea, middle layer of osteocell है. Innerly the material is very soft. ऊपरना layer में parents જોઈએ, father જોઈએ, नीचे mother જોઈએ, in between calcarea. Clinic में कई રીતે ખબર પડે? Right? So if the parents is nearby, they are in comfort zone. Whatever we are asking, whatever we are giving, we get back to the answer. If the parents is nearby, if the parental support is not there, parents ne bahar muko, that child will be troubled, right? We can come to know. Need the parental support. Anybody in society. Clinging to anybody in society, कोई पण व्यक्ति જોઈએ as a cling, because as sir say, they are crippled mentally and physically. This is genetically they are crippled. Genetically એનું development જ નથી થયું. Genetically they are not functionally developed mentally and physically. So એનું જેટલું પણ development હશે, they are completely stuck up, slow, right? So immediately they want to cling whatever comes in their life. So society નો કોઈ વ્યક્તિ પણ એક્સપાયર થઈ જશે, બરાઇટા will affect tremendously. ક્યાંક ને ક્યાંક એની dependency ત્યાં હશે. So this makes the baraita very syphilitic because there is no base inside. While calcarea has little bit intellect, little bit courage, but there is a confusion and weakness of will. They want support. Parents and a counsel करसे, support आपसे, तो they succeed like anything. Want motherly love and emotional manipulation is pulsatilla. We discussed pulsatilla. Want motherly love and emotional, right? So this says everything. They want affection, care, love, emotion. Left side, right? Want affection, but intellectual manipulation is like this. Right? They use the brain. આપણને idea આવે, આપણને feel થાય કે child નું intellect બહુ high છે. Simple વાત કરીએ તો બી એનું attributes છે કાઢી નાખતા હોય. Right? They see from the corners, they see from the hidden cameras, everywhere they are looking into. Because આપણું જે એનું જે દેખાતું presentation હોય નહીં હોય. Because they are highly developed brains, right? So they want affection, but intellect is playing a major role, right? Pulsatilla, emotions playing the major role. We discussed growth nowadays is very common. The cancer is coming on a day-to-day basis. Every day 2 to 3 cancers are coming. New cancers are coming because in day-to-day basis we have very succumbed immunity. So calcarea development always a delay, slow, fat, flabby, tendency to grow fat. This is psychotic. So this makes the calcarea more sauropsychotic as a dominant. Development arrest. Sereni miasmatic genesis ma calcarea baraita has given very good approach. Sir says sacrifice growth for survival. So every constitution growth sacrifice આવે છે તો પણ એક defense છે, right? Why they are sacrificing their growth? કયા level પર, કેટલા stage પર, કેટલા deeper level they arrest the growth is very important. Again, growth is for life, right? Sora sacrificing growth is syphilis. For survival, again syphilis as per sir. So in that cases, many cases of cerebral palsies and paralysis, in CAM cases where the development has arrested, many remedies come into the mind. Many times the common remedies were listed comes into the calcarea, baryta, silica, thuja, whatever. But why they are sacrificing the growth is important. So for calcarea, confusion, prime importance, because this is from the very beginning, many cases of developmental arrest, developmental cases, delay cases. We are searching, we are going into deeper into the pathology, mother history during pregnancy, where we find confusion at the top level. From the confusion, they can go to chaotic, they can go into identity crisis. So this is a journey of calcarea, a confusion as a base. When you give trial support, they grow and develop, right? Small just માં મધર કહી દે કે કંઈક આપણે એવું કરીએ, કંઈક સપોર્ટ આપીએ, કંઈક હેલ્પ કરીએ, તો he is doing. So genetic trait હોય, support is a genetic trait હોય. But we cannot left confusion as a core for calcarea. Okay? Baryta obviously mentally as well as physically crippled totally. So here support के society के consolation की कोई effect नहीं है, because there is no attributes of receiving. There is no brain, there is no physical sensitivity to receiving, because they are born syphilitic. So it makes that person misplaced, foolish, indiscretion, complete abolition of intellect, never grow and growth in one direction. all or none જેવું છે, ક્યાંક સરે લખેલું છે. Single dominance, one-sidedness, fixity is baryta. How it is? Out of 100 proportion, 99 is damaged. Suppose 99% is damaged, right? So only 1% which is remain, from that he has to defend, right? 99% sacrificed. Now only the 1% which is defend, like baryta mute છે, so the affection is one-sided. Baryta iode, the drive, iode said that there is a much activity and restlessness. So they are misplaced on the wheel. Baryta mure is misplaced on the emotions. So we can categorize single dominance, fixity, all or none. Means 99% damage, only 1% is remain, which is a life survival. Before everything is top except sexuality grows. So microcephaly હોય, but body is very large as a psychotic defense, survival. Body, mother syphilis present કર્યો છે, પણ that Puforana is predominantly a psychotic, right? So syphilis ને cover કરવા માટે body defense as a psychosis. So everything is top except sexuality. આપણે symptoms છે. Sexuality grows, secondary sexual character હોય. Every character in terms of sexuality is developed, but the mind will not, the brain will not. Want sensual pleasure in highest degree, and how and when and alone. જ્યારે પણ એકલું હોય ત્યારે એને sexuality, sensuality, masturbation એ આપણે symptoms છે. Right? Thuja, we discussed Thuja, very important key point. Fragility of mind and body, weakness. Don't defend for survival as you are weak. So delusion, legs and hands are cut off. Internally they feel weak. Internally they feel fragile. So fragility, the fragility is born, delusion, fragile is born genetic of Thuja. So that weakness comes into psychosis. They hidden their weakness because they are predominantly psychosis. In syphilis, this weakness can be gone, or they are permanently adapted with this weakness. Permanently adaptation of weakness is legs are cut off, hands मेरे से कुछ नहीं होगा, मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता. So it look like baryta, but the fragility of mind and body, the weakness, some attributes of weakness is there, right? બે કેસ છે ઇન્ફર્ટિલિટી ના. Thuja single dose clear the case. Both are genetic, have RH incompatibility. एक प्राइमरी છે એક સેકન્ડરી છે. એક બ્યુટીફુલ કન્સેપ્ટ મળ્યો ફ્રેજિલિટીનો બંને કેસમાં. What is RH incompatibility? RH negative.
Mother.
Mother.
Born with the positive
RH positive.
child.
What happens then?
Entity then abundance.
Hemolysis. Why this hemolysis happens? A particular एक autoimmunity found થઈ. અમરીશ સરનો હમણાંનો લેટેસ્ટ કન્સેપ્ટ જે જેનેટિક મ્યુટેશન્સમાં અને ઓટોઇમ્યુન કેસીસમાં જોવે છે. કોઈ પણ જગ્યાએ કોઈ જેનેટિક એટ્રીબ્યુટ્સ કે કોઈ ઓટોઇમ્યુન વર્ડ મળે તો we go into the source. What is incompatibility in dictionary or in Google? So we find it what it is. Actually we read that process, we analyze this process according to the life stage of person, and we find the mind of pathology. We find some conception, we find some perception delusion according to that pathology. So when the mother blood circulation goes in mixed with the fetal circulation because of antigenicity, because of autoimmunity, mother's antibody kills the RBC of child, and the end result is hemolysis. Hemolysis એટલે ટુકડા ટુકડા, તૂટક તૂટક, બરાબર. Fragility. So it's a very long case, we will not go into deeper, but the mother perception માં એવું હતું, these people are very conscientious people. પૂજા સરે ગુડ ઇમેજમાં પણ મૂક્યા છે. તો રિલેશનશિપના કોન્ફ્લિક્ટ ચાલતા હતા, એમાં તે ફિમેલ થોટ્સ ઓટોઇમ્યુનિટી ડીપર લેવલ છે. તો we want some perception according to this hemolysis and autoimmunity. Blood છે obviously love relationship. તો પરસેપ્શન અમુક મળ્યા કે ભાઈ કોન્ફ્લિક્ટ ચાલતા હોય તો મારા હિસાબે કોઈ કંઈક કહેવાથી કે કોકને કંઈક બોલવાથી જે પણ રિલેશનો છે એ તૂટી ના જાય. This was the concept of bonding in relationship. તો કંઈક બોલવા કરતા, કંઈક કહેવા કરતા, it is better not to have that particular relations. Right? So we have many attributes of that perception, but the pathology is autoimmunity, the pathology is hemolysis and death. Right? So I consider this as કે ભાઈ relation बिखर ना जाए, fragile, टूटी फूटी ना जाए. Right? So bonding of fragility. બરાબર. એના પરથી મેં થુજા આપેલી, both the concept. Thuja single dose. So from that we can also learn in this way the particular word, the incompatibilities, means when they come into the communication, when they are coming to the context, when they are coming into the relation. ઘણીવાર attributes આવે છે ફેમિલીમાં, ફેમિલી કોન્ફ્લિક્ટ્સમાં, કે જ્યારે પણ કમ્યુનિકેશન કે રિલેશનશિપમાં આવશે તો it cannot be break, right? Because of difference of opinion. This is incompatibility. Difference of opinion and difference of concept શું થયું? Mother is negative, child is positive. I may be different, you may be different. When they are come into the context, when they are coming to the communication, mother child say by relation, Sora has to be nutrition, but there is hemolysis. So this is autoimmunity. Not all cases you can take thuja where you find RH incompatible. You have to go behind and clear the why. Incompatibility is there, right? Mother is negative, child is positive. This is difference of opinion. કે ભાઈ મને આ ચલા light comfortable નથી. Right? But when I come into the communication context, this distract and I lost. So because of difference of opinion and concept, they lost. And this is the autoimmunity of Thuja. Fragility can be anything. Fragility can be a cell, you can go to the genetic level if you want to take the developmental disorder, genetic cases, cancers. Because this is the king of psychosis, growth. Nowadays the syphilitic growths are happening, right? So you born in mind. Medorinum, history of gonorrhea, king of psychosis, again like Thuja, means the gonorrhea, UTI. In the past history, you can confirm Medorinum and Thuja. Always there is a suppression of UTI, recurrent UTI suppressed. But at genetic level, this psychosis means sexual integrity and identity is lost. In mother history during pregnancy, we can identify. Because everything is from the sexuality, everything is coming from psychosis, right? So sexual integrity and identity in a conflict, Medorinum would be the choice because they have suppression of that particular pathology. Silica, image conscious, yielding yet obstinate, intellectual yet poor confidence, so want to be supported. Silica and lycopodium, they are runs parallel. Intellectual, want support. Intellectual, yet lack of self-confidence. One is chilly, one is hot. There are other facets of lycopodium and silica. But yielding and obstinate. So this is the antagonism of silica. Every time you find the confusion of will is this is the prominent image conscious from the mother ne પહેલેથી જ fixed images હોય. More fixed images is calcareous silicata. We see in the further slide. They are very fixed image કે ભાઈ આ છે તો આવું છે જ, આવું થશે જ. ને આવું છે એટલે હું આવું નહીં કરું. Right? But internally they are very obstinate, fixed. So they want support, right? Very dry nut powder છે. When they are come into the iron and જ્યારે concrete બને they are very hard, right? So જેટલું પણ સિલિકાને પ્રેશર આપશો, જેટલું સ્ટ્રેસ આપશો, જેટલું એને સપોર્ટ આપશો, they are hard like a rocks. They are successful because they have intellect, right? So the concrete is very hard when they are supported. This makes silica a very growth remedy. Carcinosin, strong domination, પહેલેથી જ હોય, એટલા માટે there is no self expression of genes. That case, that syndrome case where I take molding, right? They sacrifice their life because of others. So inexpressive genes, they are not expressive. એને a situation મળે જ નહીં express કરવા because there is strong domination. આપણે રૂબ્રિક છે acute and isolation, chronic, long domination. Carcinosin is the remedium. So this sacrifice their identity, right? So domination to the identity crisis is carcinosin. Remember, sensitivity to reaction. So syphilis of carcinosin is out of domination and identity. Pulsatilla, key. These are all the key means genesis. Expression could be identity error. બધામાં જ આવી છે. But how they created identity, how they sacrifice their identity is very important. Pulsatilla always have changeability. Very soft plant છે, changeabilities. So there is no fixity of genes. The genes are not fixed like silica. So easy translocations, easy changing of emotions, easy changing of attributes and colors and everything. So changeability runs to so lost the integration, so they lost the control as well. So this sacrifices the growth of pulsatilla. Right? Changeabilities, they are not fixed, they are not in control. So they lose the control easily. Right? So anything which has perception of changeability in any in reports, in mother history, you can convert the syphilis changeability into the rubrics. So you can find the pulsatile. Phosphorus, again, expression. Carcinosin is not expressible. Phosphorus and carcinosin similarly, affection, want, consolation, lot of love is expressed, but they are very expressionable. So uninhibited expressive genes, because they are tall. In adult we have rubrics, tall growth, fast in lengthwise, yet mentally arrested. So physically they are very grown up, but mentally they are arrested. Something is expressed, something is not. So on that genetic attributes from the childhood or mother during pregnancy, mother history during pregnancy, you can clear-cutly identify the growth-related pathologies. One has fixed images, one has sexual integrity, one has molding, one has changeabilities, one has expressive genes, one is yielding and obstinate, one are crippled, one are fragile. You have to look into the case. So that this is a very differentiating point needed to be discussed. Many times in the camp we are confronted with the cases. Calcarea, as discussed, confusion of highest degree goes to chaotic and identity crisis. Chaos is, ઘણી વાર cricket જોતો હોય તો run out થાય ને. Will strong way, but they are not in the tuning with the others. Right? Acute confusional state with restlessness, with strong will, goes into the chaotic condition. Goes to when they lost the confusion, when they lost the control, they goes into the identity crisis. When they are not supported. Coldness is the key, chilly tendency, and coldness is the spot. Phosphorus ma burns હતું, burning. અહીંયા coldness છે. Coldness is the key. We have to examine many times. We are not examining the patient. We have to examine each and every patient. We find the coldness. Even in ICU cases, emergency cases, where the whole body is warm, only the soul is cold, the fingertips is cold, the neck is cold. So this is the thermoregulatory mechanism is confused, right? There is confusion at level of the hypothalamus. So they express this symptoms. Profuse sour perspiration, they sweats on the head, PQRS. ઘણા બધા બેબીઝમાં મળે છે, but you have to identify how this perspiration happens. કપડું વિટાળી રાખે છે તો perspiration થવાનું, but એમ જ પંખા નીચે સૂતો હોય તો એ perspiration હોય. Particularly on the occiput. Silica and sanicula. Sanicula is different, silica is different, calcarea is different. Very angry, like tarantula, touch me not, chamomilla like, silica is obstinate, calcarea is yielding. This is a differentiating point. Craving for indigestible things, which is not for life, they are craving, is syphilis as per Sir. Definitely we have to look at aversion to and aggravation from milk. Again, milk is love, milk is the prime nutrition from the very early primitive life, expressing the love and nutrition. And they have aversion and aggravation. You can enter, when the love remedy is there, you can enter from this milk intolerance, lactose intolerance, right? So much of celiac disease, autoimmune disease, HS disease, where they cannot digest even milk, mother's milk. Aversion to mother's milk માં આપણને unwanted pregnancy history મળશે. So that milk is stand for love is missing. So every particular food or food item has its own attributes. Sir has said, water is alive in phosphorus, milk is also love, right? જે ખાવાનું છે નથી ખાતું બીજું બધું ખાયા કરે છે. Syphilis, we have to look. Want material security of highest degree. Emotional security is pulsatilla. They always want emotions and emotion. પૈસા હારે કઈ મતલબ નથી. Calcarea has material security. ઘરનું શું થશે, મોટું ઘર લેવાનું છે, right? પૈસા, money, always be discussed in money. Activate the bone marrow production. Calcarea 0/30 by Happy Patel. Last night we discussed with Dr. Jitu, sir. It is the vast experience of calcarea in bone marrow pathology, right? Activate the bone marrow production, so you can have that indication, syphilitic indication, mostly in the leukemias. આપણે આવતું bleeding અને clotting mechanism માં વચ્ચે calcium હતું. So that calcium has a role of coagulation and all these things. Many times we ignored કે ભાઈ આટલી syphilitic pathology માં is calcarea work? Yes, it can, provided the approach and the understanding of the case would be right. Calcarea will work. Prick of needle they faint because they don't have that courage and immediately prick they faint. Calcarea has very bad PMS, exaggerate during menses, perception is bad, hysteria, menses during, physiological out of control. મારી ખુદની વાણી periods પહેલા she just collapse, severe vomiting, unnatural smell, no appetite, severe weakness, severe bleeding, severe pain, everything is out of control. Right? Calcarea was given, no episode, no episode. Single dose, 200. So everything physiology છે, physiological છે, means the menses during is a concomitant and physiological out of control is hysteria. So hysteria, menses during was a selection or choice. Prescribed on that basis, fair, fatty, soft, confused, sensitive to criticism, everything matched. So it's fine. Sterility with copious menses, copious again out of control, there is no inhibition from hypothalamus, right? Infertility, fair, fatty, flabby, every little excitement flow out. Every little excitement profuse the flow. So these people are very bad beings, right? Scanty menses is sepia and cantheris. This is a strong concomitant. When in a sterility case we don't find anything, you can go to this phase. Constant હોવું જોઈએ, means પહેલેથી જ scanty છે તો નહીં. It has to be a constant throughout. Suffocation on ascending, any respiratory paralysis. Suffocation on ascending, જેવું staircase ચડે, calcarea become breathless. Always have a sweaty, cold palms and soles. This is the entry point, rule out point of calcarea as per sir. Very sweaty, cold palms and soles, syphilitic. A particular portion पर જ હોય, right? Silica, calcarea silicata also. Same timeline, arsenic, chili in acute, chili trustless, dull. Precision is a key, very precise gene. These are very, because of metallic quality, they are very precise in everything. We know what the arsenic is. Need safety, complementary is Gujarat. Right? Both are runs and complement each other. Precision, that is fastidiousness, proper, particular. Everything has to be in order, clean, time, pathology, clothes, behavior. Everything has to be in that particular fashion. Well, calcarea is not meticulous. Calcarea, that metallic quality and confusion is missing. Arsenic has very metallic qualities, very meticulous, very proper, right? So, suppose in money sense, arsenic हिसाब આપી શકશે because of their intellectual brain. Calcarea हिसाब नहीं આપી શકે, પૂછવાનું કે તમે તમારી પાસે કઈ હિસાબ કેવું કઈ રાખો છો, they can attributes કે ભાઈ મારાથી હિસાબ ના I can forget, I don't know anything, right? Slow in answering and processing, while arsenic is very fast. So everything is proper, particular, need to be in timeline, clean, pathology, even genes also. And genetic attributes પણ એવું જ હશે in a very particular order, right? I see one of the case somewhere where the tumor has to be in particular fashion, in order, in symmetrical and everything. That particular fellow described arsenic. Everything is in
source
greater the suffering, greater the anguish, restlessness and fear of death. આપણને ખબર છે કે પેશન્ટ એન્ગ્શિયસ છે, જેવું એને કંઈક સ્ટિમ્યુલસ આપીએ, એન્ઝાઇટી વાળું સ્ટિમ્યુલસ આપીએ કે મને કંઈક લાગે છે, સો ઇમિડિયેટલી ધેટ એન્ઝાઇટી ઇઝ એક્ઝેજરેટ. તમને શું લાગે છે, શું થઈ જશે, તે રિપોર્ટ કરાવી. So because they heightened, immediately they perceive. So greater the suffering, જેમ જેમ એની પેથોલોજી વધતી જશે, this anguish and restlessness and up to fear of death is increasing. Prostration out of proportion to the illness is a strong concomitant. Prostration like acids, very deep into the earth, because these are all metals, deep metals, metalloids. So very pathological cases, strong pathologies, destructive changes where patient bed પરથી ઊભું જ નહીં થઈ શકે. Like acid mure, most of the acids, each acid has its own debility, right? We discuss in acids. So prostration out of proportion, concomitant always with inacute as well as ઊભું જ ન થવાય. એમ તમે કંઈક વિડીયો કોલ કરી લો કે ફોન કરી લો, આવી શકે એવી હાલત જ નથી. કાલ સાંજથી તકલીફ છે, આપણને લાગે 7 દિવસથી ટાઇફોઇડ છે, ડેન્ગ્યુ પડેલ છે, નો, 6 થી 10 કલાકમાં તો સિવિયર વીકનેસ, B12 ઓછું હશે, આ છે, નો, weakness is weakness. First choice is acid and arsenic. Anxiety goes to the fear of death. This is a triamiasmatic in the chronic cases, in a genetic prescribing, in the traits, how this arsenic is going, death desire, conviction, thoughts, it's the thoughts. Suicidal as well, mostly fast, autoimmune pathological case, given up to the highest care, because ક્યાંક લખેલું છે બોરિકમાં, it is a strong euthanasia and hypotency. It is a strong euthanasia and hypotency given up to the utmost care. કે ભાઈનો સાયકોસિસથી સિફિલિસમાં કઈ રીતે ગયું, સોરિકથી સિફિલિસમાં કઈ રીતે ગયું, autoimmune syphilis, what is running, fast syphilisમાં કયો attributes છે આર્સેનિકનો. You have to calculate everything and prescribe, otherwise you lost the case. Sipsing thrust for small quantity at frequent interval. This is a thrust because there is internal burning, internal dryness. There was sipsing thrust, right? Chilly, restlessness, acrid, excruciating discharges, arsenic quality, acrid discharges, not bland, acrid, burning, pain, better by heat. Burning is better by heat, right? અમુક લોકો તો અસ્થિર મૂકે છે. So much of heat and burning. This is syphilis. ગમે તેમ કરીને heat મૂકીને એને આરામ આપો. Strong desire for company, because they are internally lack of support, internally fearful, highly panic, sad story affect profoundly આપણે calcaria છે. So internally they are very very anxious, desire for company, strong desire for company. Out of fear is phosphorus, out of sympathy. Phosphorus is out of sympathy. Out of fear is arsenic. Midday midnight aggravation. This is a sharp periodicity. Night માં call આવે, you have to look into the clock first. ભાઈ કયા ટાઈમે કેટલા વાગે પેશન્ટનો કોલ આવ્યો છે, because that call itself is aggravation, right? That call is itself aggravation. 1 વાગે call છે, so કઈ હિસ્ટ્રીમાં કશું છે મળતું નથી, તો you must identify કે ભાઈ 1 થી 1.5 માં call હતો, that was a sharp aggravation. શું કરીએ ખબર નથી પડતી, she is land up in collapse, what to do. So midnight, midday, sharp periodicity, this is syphilitic. 12 to 2 a.m. Arsenic like, બીજા કોણ કોણ હોય, કાલી હોય, એસિડ હોય, we have anxiety, insecure, angry, quarrelsome, discontented, money minded, right? But the kali are extrovert and sensitive to pain. Kali bichromicum and kali brom is mineral opium. They have very neurological problem, the psychological problem, schizophrenia, paranoids, right? Kali brom and Kali bichromicum is more of syphilitic tissue. Tissue is involved, deeper into the tissue. Like Kali Brom, deeper into the brain. The psychology be affected into deeper level. Acids, same anxious, insecure, frustrated, discontented, mostly nitric acid. But out of constant struggle and working out, constant struggle. Very important. Many times patient na words repeat thata hoy case history ma. Thodi they just give up, they just resign, despair as a reaction. So discourage, resignation, I have selected એમાં ત્રણ એસિડ છે, નાઇટ્રિક એસિડ, ફોસ્ફોરિક એસિડ અને પિક્રિક એસિડ. So acid નું reaction despair, resignation છે. While arsenic is more going into the fear of death, more going into the autoimmune mode, like suicidal, because of these are conscientious people, good moral people. Acids are not, except picric acid, except acid phos and oxalic acid. These both are diligent acids, right? It reduces the refractory index of blood serum. Blood ની pathology, disorganization and બધી વસ્તુના લોચા હોય fast. When you have a fast moving case, acute case, frank-syphilitic or sorosyphilitic, it maintains the system under the stress of malignancy regardless of location. Boric, this is said by William Boric. It maintains the system under stress. So at least it acts as a palliative in a given a case. At least we have a chance of follow. If some attributes of arsenic is there, you can prescribe in a low potency 30 કે 200 થી સ્ટાર્ટ કરવાનું. પેથોલોજીકલ કેસીસ હોય એક આપણે એટ્રીબ્યુટ્સ જોયો તો કે કશું જ નથી મળતું 4 થી 5 પેથોલોજી છે તો we club that pathologies and prescribe on that. પછી એની જીસીએસ આપણને જેવું પેશન્ટ આ સ્ટ્રેસમાંથી બહાર નીકળે, સ્ટ્રેસ ઓફ મેલિગ્નન્સી રિગાર્ડિંગ location. So it could be a metastasis cancer also. એક પોઈન્ટ લીધો છે કે ઇન્વેસ્ટિગેશન પરથી we can differentiate the particular kingdom or remedy. Animal ને survival issue હોય, they are very timid, highly fearful. આપણી ખબર વગર પેશન્ટ બધા જ હેલ્થ ચેકઅપ કરાવીને આપણે સજેસ્ટ નહીં કર્યું, બધા જ હેલ્થ ચેકઅપ કરાવીને આવી જશે. 4 થી 5 થી ફાઇલ હશે બધી, સર જો આમાં કંઈ છે, બધું જ કરાવી લીધું છે. Actually nothing is needed because they perceive threats everywhere, right? And they have developed highly intellectual brain કે ભાઈ રિપોર્ટ્સ કરાવવા જોઈએ, ઇવન હેલ્થ ચેકઅપ બી અવેલેબલ છે તો એ બધું કરાવવું જોઈએ. Consult to the higher authority, higher consultation to know what it is. Minerals is a particular core યાદ રાખો, deficiency. Mineral is a deficiency, right? So deficiency ક્યારે આવશે? They want support. They have concerned supportive elements. Means once you pacify, counsel the patient, માની જશે. સાહેબ કેમ લાગે છે રિપોર્ટની જરૂર છે, તમે પ્રોપરલી એને કાઉન્સલ કરશો તો એની જે ડિઝાયર છે જતી જશે. Means deficiency is gone. So I said there is a desire. When there is a desire satisfied, deficiency gone. That means patient ને તમે કાઉન્સલ કરો, સપોર્ટ આપો કે ભાઈ જરૂર નથી, રહેવા દો, જરૂર પડશે તો કરાવશું. That is a mental quality. They pacified easily because they are timid, they want support. The inner deficient. Metals, obvious metal qualities, they are organized, methodical, they are high esteem, slow, knowledge oriented. They go methodically, they go thorough investigation and super consultant પાસે જઈને કયા ડોક્ટર પાસે શું કરવું જોઈએ બધું કરીને ડાયગ્નોસ્ટ કરીને પ્રોગ્નોસિસ લઈને તમારી પાસે આવશે કે ભાઈ the best treatment, best ever is homeopathy. સર બધું જ કરી લીધું છે, હવે તમારે દવા આપવાની છે. So this is metal quality, right? Animal fast હોય, metal slow હોય. Vegetable they have specific alkaloid, right? This has a deficient as a core. Minerals. Vegetable has particular alkaloid. આપણને ખબર છે બધી જ vegetable has particular alkaloids, right? So they have specific alkaloid for survival. So their particular sensitivity go deep into the pain, hurts and sufferings. Right? particular sensitivity, particular hertz હોય, particular, તો according to they react, according to sensitivity they react. તમે મારી તકલીફ જોઈને રિપોર્ટ કરાવજો પ્લીઝ, રાઈટ? કોન્સ્ટન્ટ આ જ વર્ડ હોય, because that inner sensitivity, inner hertz is there, constant. On that basis they are reacting. So you can differentiate some points કે ભાઈ આ કિંગડમમાં હોઈ શકે, આ રેમેડી હોઈ શકે on investigation. Steffi agree on that particular timeline: chilly, trustless, diligent, dull, dignity as a core in as a miasmatic base, a basic trait of that individual. But this sensitivity is insult, humiliation, chagrin, shame, indignation, anger, vexation, quarrel. History, you must identify history. There is onanism, post-marriage UTI, recurrent history of UTI, recurrent history of sty, black teeth, and injuries from sharp cutting instrument. This cuts is also insult, right? Like cesarean, operectomy, clear cut words. After abdominal operation, post surgery, right? They go into the element, and the reaction is intense pain. જ્યારથી operation થયું છે ત્યાર પછી સાહેબ દુખાવો જતો જ નથી. That pain is intense because that hurt inside remains constant. They cannot fight. That hurt is inside, constant. Right? Acute elements after quarrel, jagdo thyo, gusso dabayo, was insulted, too dignified to fight, subdue his wrath, went home sick, trembled and exhausted. When this is a repeated sequences, and every time got quarrel, every time got humiliated, every time got insulted, patient goes into the trembling. Trembling is cerebellum, SCPH માં કીધું હતું. Trembling is coming from extrapyramidal, right? So they goes into the lack of the control loss. So autoimmune Parkinson, autoimmune myasthenia gravis, multiple sclerosis, where you find constant insult, patient lost the control. This could be the delirium of Savaj, right? Constant, has to be constant, and it has to be out of control. Very studious, good boy. There are many remedies. This is one of, right? Very studious element. आपने खबर है anger, vexation. Hunger is a prominent feature, very differentiating point of ignatia and staphysagria in acutes. Like we discuss later on. Hunger. ઘણા પેશન્ટ એવા કે સાહેબ ભૂખ વધી જાય, જેવો તાવ આવે તો તાવ આવવાની શરૂઆત થાય તો ભૂખ વધી જાય. Actually it should not happen. It's not a common thing, right? ખાવ એવું જ થાય. So it happens every time. This is a constant concomitant in acutes as well as in chronic cases which is not related to pathology. You can prescribe on hunger also. Staphysagria has like sulfur. Injuries from sharp cutting instrument, right? Acute post-surgery reaction is intense. So injury or any stimulus has given, the surgery has happened, the insult is there, but reaction is important. Reaction is individual too. Reaction is on the individual too, right? On that basic trait, how the individual is going according to the stimulus is individualistic. So intense pain is a reaction that makes the Saphysagria selection. Observation. ઘણી વાર આપણે દાંત જોવાના ભૂલી જઈએ. Observe the teeth. Teeth turn black and crumbled. બરાબર? ડેન્ટિસ્ટ ઉપર ચડી જાય એની પહેલા Staphysagria જોઈ લેવાની, મેઝેરિયમ જોઈ લેવાની, પૂજા જોઈ લેવાની. Mercury, they have a specific action on the teeth because caries of teeth is notorious. Sometimes patient એટલું બધું hesitation હોય, સર બધું ખરાબ થઈ ગયું છે, તમે કંઈક કરો. Severe pain છે, severe suppuration છે, antibiotic ખાઈને હવે dentist હવે કે કાઢવું પડશે બધું. Teeth turn black, crumbled, decay on age. At the root, misery and puja. Scorbutic cachexia, delirium, onanism, persistently dwelling on sexual subject, constantly thinking of sexual pleasure out of guilt. right? When one episode has happened, simple આપણે વિચાર આવે નીકળી જાય, that is bit of soaring, constant છે, psychotic, but person is persistently dwelling in and out and every subject is something is delirium. Sorry, say it could be delirium, could be anything. It could be anything which is out of control, not in person's sense, out of intellect. Person is not able to, સાહેબ એટલા બધા વિચાર આવે છે, ઊંઘ જ નથી આવતી, 5 વર્ષથી સૂતો જ નથી. So these thoughts could be a delirium, right? You enter through this constant thinking of sexual pleasure because inside there is a guilt always. So guilt have a dignity માટે because this is a genesis, how they runs according to the life. Constantly they guilt. So most of autoimmune disease, Staphysaceria is one of the remedy because પહેલેથી જ dignity, સંસ્કાર અને એ બધું rooted છે. So when that lost અને conscience છે, so they goes into the autoimmunity easily. Check. Arthritic nodosities of joints, especially of fingers. Colophylum, colchicum, lycopodium. These two are non-diligent, lycopodium is diligent. Inflammation of phalanges with sweating in suppuration. Any cases of rheumatoid arthritis where you find sweating and suppuration around the joint, first remedy is Staphysaceria. This is a constant concomitant. You cannot ignore the physical, right? આપણે ઘણીવાર autoimmunity માં પડ્યા હોઈએ, perceptions, want mother, why is this happening, but patient constantly throw કરતો હોય, સર આખું ભીનો ભીનો જોઈ છે અને આ suppuration નથી જતું. So it is not easily found out in autoimmune rheumatoid arthritis. Deformities ને એવું બધું હશે, but this infection is particular, right? Spermatoria with shrunken feature, guilt, abased look, emission followed by backache, weakness, ઘણા બધા concomitant છે related to sexuality. Atrophy of sexual organ, it is written in Allen's. Prostration, relaxation, everything is cold. You blindly prescribe Agnes and Staphysaceria. Right? Atrophy of sexual organ means the secondary sexual character at pathological level is gone because there is no identity. His dignity is sacrificed. You are nothing. Childhood માંથી humiliation છે, abuse છે, right? Strong domination છે, every time is treated wrongly. So they don't develop the identity, the sexual character they don't develop. Causticum, colocin, Staphysaceria, complementary trio છે. You have to run first around the complementaries because they are brothers and sisters. Ek remedy is in acute phase, even in a chronic cases, some stuck ups is there. You have to look nearby. કે ભાઈ આ નથી તો આ છે, આપીને જોઈ જોવાનું. It can be looks like colocin, Staphysaceria, causticum, right? But causticum is very defiance kind of, very authoritative, kali છે, very angry. All three are angry, but causticum and colocin is anger outburst, right? Causticum is injustice cannot support, while colocin is love remedy, sympathetic remedy છે. Sympathetic, compassionate, rubric છે, sufferings of others. Colocin has also anger, indignation, anger outburst is colocin, anger suppressed is Staphysaceria. All are trusty. Chili. Staphy is first place. Ignatia, same. Again, the reaction is hysterical. Staphy is not. So they easily go into the out of control, right? Any emotions, especially hurts and disappointment. Sir has said it has more to do with the love, more to do with the position. Sir has clearly said, right? Hysteria, brooding, silent grief, lovesick, everything you find. But the sensitivity and reaction is very important in acute as well as in chronic cases. Everybody has his own sensitivity and everybody has his own reaction. So પછી ઘરે જઈને સ્લાઇડ જોશો તો everybody has his own reaction which is in red line. Right? This is a red line. Now this is a hysterical reaction. It is syphilitic, out of control. Right? So ignatia is sorosyphilitic, dynamic syphilitic or psychosyphilitic. So hysteria માં કઈ રીતે ગઈ, કેવી રીતે ગઈ? If you identify the genesis of ignatia, you can find out the every hysterical reaction or any type of syphilitic of ignatia you can study. So sir has given a wonderful concept of triamiasmatic. It is a very short કે ભાઈ આ ignatia છે, આ staphysaggria છે, બધી એક જ લાગે ને. Staphysaggria, colocin, ignatia, silica, carcinosin, lycopodium, oral, diligent, conscientious, dignity લેવા દેવા. But difference. Good boy, good girl, again look like silica, ignatia. Elements from hurt, loss of position, fright from being scolded, punished, very common. You have to acquire this school timing and what is going on in the school. Every time because of the timidity, because of the hurt, they will not say what my mother will do, what my mother will say. But once you inquire politely, तो एक कैसे कि भाई this thing is happens in the school, right? Anxiety coming suddenly at night. This sir has mentioned 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. ઘણી વાર સાહેબ રાત્રે કંઈક થાય છે. Ignore કે ભાઈ બહુ ચિંતા હશે, આખા દિવસનો લોડ હશે. But that particular time phase, every time patient has particular time phase, that is sorosyphilitic. That particular time phase માં થાય છે. So that this is syphilitic. This makes the person syphilitic. Because that constant brooding is also a delirium of ignatia. Constant brooding. They cannot control that thought process. They cannot control. Sir, control થાય એમ જ નથી. કા સ્લીપિંગ પિલ્સ આપી દો, કા મને એડમિટ કરી દો, કાંઈ હું ગાંડો થઈ જઈશ. રાઈટ? આપણે કે ડિપ્રેશન હશે, બહુ વિચારવાનું નહીં. But person is throwing the syphilis. We have to catch it. Desire hot food which ameliorate, again like lycopodium, but this is a chili. Lycopodium is a bit different, more logical, more practical, less emotional, less sensitive, less hysterical. Right? Both are intellectual, both are diligent, conscientious, but reaction is different. Hungry after fever is ignatia. Hunger before and during fever is staphysaggria. So in acutes, very important, if hunger is the element, you can differentiate. If after is ignatia, during is staphysaggria. Raw food ameliorates. Again, this is chili, trustless, diligent categories in acutes. But raw food desire, that ameliorate is ignatia and aversion is for acid foods. But this is what raw food signifies in life. હમણાં છે ને બધું કાચું ને ઝીરો ફિગર ને ડાયટ્સ ને part and parcel of anorexia nervosa. It's a disease, anorexia nervosa, right? Nutrition is compromised and person end up in psychosis or some syphilis. So this is a basic difference. Inner conflict, romantic idealism, conflict with reality. So હું પોતે શું છું અને મારે શું રિએક્ટ કરવાનું છે, what I perceive, એના ડાયલેમામાં they lost the control. That makes the person hysterical. This is a basic conflict of ignatia. I found out somewhere, but this is a basic romantic idealism, conflict with reality. You have to read in detail. Contradictory, again, contradictory and alternating state. Many pathologies, many symptoms, many paroxysm is in alternation. This is one of the historical feature of ignatia. Most contradictory remedy, right? ભાઈ આપણે કંઈક એક્સપેક્ટ કંઈક કર્યું હોય ને નીકળે કંઈક બીજું કે સાહેબ આવું છે, આવું થઈ ગયું. So everything is contradictory. Is ignatia. Delirium brooding, again discussed because it is constant over the past and imaginary. When it is a constant hurt, right? Love remedy છે, constant hurt છે, જશે જ નહીં, right? Even psychotropic medication થી પણ એ શું એને ઊંઘ નહીં આવે. immediately 1 કલાક 2 કલાક સૂશે પછી પાછી જાગી જશે because of that constant hurt, that constant thoughts. So you can enter through dwells on past disagreeable occurrence. It could be a delirium. Every emotion come out in a spasmodic way. Twitching hoy, short sobs, shine are small gestures to patient. Because there is an inner spasmodic way, under thi takleef છે. There is anger also. Biting insides, every time ulcer line આવશે, swallowing, lump in the throat. These are all psychological attributes. Out of that hurts. Reaction is that showing, shining, આપણે આવતું. Hysteria with shine. Only observation. First remedy is ignition. Mark diversion to fruits and tobacco smoke. સાહેબ આનું કઈ નહીં કરો આ હસબન્ડ નું છે ને તંબાકુ છોડાવી દો મારું મેઇન હેડેક આ તંબાકુ છે મને દવા નહીં આપો તો કાઈ નહીં આ હસબન્ડ ની ટોબેકો છોડાવી this is my prime concern many times female saying because this is their inner insecurity what happens next so perspiration on particularly on the face long concentrated grief the reaction is exhaustion sir I said if the lady is humiliated the first reaction is exhaustion કામમાં થાકી જાઉં છું મારાથી કામ નથી થતું કામમાંથી બોલાવી લો right because there are no energies inside right all the energy is drained out in thinkings and thinkings and thinkings so they are exhausted involuntary sign ઊંડા શ્વાસ નિસાસા દુઃખ ભરી with weak empty feeling at the pit of the stomach not relieved by eating so again it is our hunger expressions because they want energies na continuous thinking ચાલુ છે so they need food constant food એકાદશી ઉપવાસ હશે તો પણ ફરાળ તો જોશે constant right because their mind is constantly active on their hurts amiable in disposition feeling well but easily disturbed by very slight emotions easily offended they are very silent બચ્ચું શાંતિથી લખતું હોય ભણતું હોય if some irritation comes again anger outburst comes right again they become amiable again the outburst comes so this is every time is alternating nothing is fixed this makes the person hysterical because they are very sensitive they lost easily control same hysterical sensitive रड़ती बला grief hurts but ignition is dark skin as per Ellen's very dark skin intellectual and fast right pulsatilla is fair slow and indecisive તમે નિર્ણય લઈ શકો છો પૂછવાનું ઇમોશનલ છો પ્રેક્ટિકલ છે બરાબર ક્વિક છે એનું કામકાજ કેવું છે કામકાજની સ્પીડ કેવી છે કઈ રીતે કામકાજ કરે છે so that makes the attributes of individual and we can make the difference it's an easy process we can know these common remedies acid force they are not much hysterical but they are resigned to the fate they easily resign to the fate because there is an inner constant struggle they are just fed up એનું Krebs cycle તરત જ energy loss કરનાર there are many acids in Krebs cycles na energy production right so historically they are very agile very active psychotically they are dull and syphilitic they are completely prostrated so despair resignation પણ એક રૂબ્રિક છે resign to fate કે ભાઈ જે છે એ સાહેબ હવે અમારે ભોગવવાનું છે ચલાવવાનું છે તમે દવા આપો હવે I have accepted that defeat I accepted this situation resign to fate sir has given in organ failure this the mind of pathology the conception the perception means every organ is resigned to the fate every organ is one by one every organ is failing in acute alarming emergency even in ICU cases, right? So you can enter through resignation of acid phos, provided other is missing. We have seen in the Mahabaleshwar case, that case homesick, sir has taken this rubric, homesickness, particularly with drowsiness. So acid phos, because of phosphorus element, the home front, the love front, the family front is missing. Missing home front in crisis. So they become immediately homesick in crisis. Right? ઘર સાંભળે, the natives, અમુક લોકો simple fever આવે તો native ભાગી જાય કે ભાઈ જ્ઞાત મને સારું થશે, because this is the highest comfort zone of acid phos. So they are resigned, they are prostrated, and they are homesick as a reaction. It could be an acute as well as a trait in chronic case. You can enter through acid phos. Delirium, stupor, then answers correctly when aroused, again stupor. Stupor, consciousness, again stupor. આપણે આવતું વાઇવામાં differentiation, arnica, acid phos. So much of toxicity, so much of devaluation of brain leads to so much of sepsis, goes to stupor. Again આપણે pinch કરીએ, give the answer, again stupor. So again the person resigns, come up and resign, come up and resigns. Acid phos. Elements from puberty, very common. PCODs, we forget these remedies in PCODs because of phosphorus element. Pulsatilla is also there in puberty element. APS is also there. Phosphorus, obvious communication, sharings and carryings. Phone nahi ayo, kitty party ma bolaivi nahi. I am not taken in a communication, right? Sunday malya nahi. So this is simple element she has in a constant, right? So one in a constant phase, they stuck up at puberty, right? Because this is the age where she has to grow with communication, socialism. But by genetic, acid phos is introvert, as per sir. In acute, trustless, with strong desire for cold, refreshing, juicy things, because innerly they are prostrated. So every time lemonades, there is belladonna also, right? They want constant refreshments. Veratrum is also. Veratrum, belladonna and acid phos. Strong desire for refreshing. You just identify the content of લીંબુ શરબત છે, બ્લુ કેન છે, બીજું કઈ છે, રાઈટ, પિંક પેન્થર છે, whatever. So that refresh the person. Aorta, anger when oblique to answer in acutes. Elements from grief, બધા જ એલિમેન્ટ એસિડ ફોર્સમાં છે. Grief, anger, mortification, mental weakness followed by physical. So you have to encounter. Aversion to dry food particulars. Rule out if there is no desire for cold drinks. Not only the cold drinks, but this some feature of acid phos, you can make out the prescription. Right? Elements from grief, disappointed love, after exhausting illness, acute disease. જ્યારથી 2-3 વાર repeated typhoid થયા છે પછી patient improve જ નથી. Patient constantly end up in psychosis treat karo છો syphilis, but in the past history when we encountered, yes, constant this process. So the base of prescription જ્યાં બી first slide હતી, the past history, the importance of past history, importance of family history, ત્યાંથી એનું genetic attributes ખબર પડે કે ભાઈ every time એને disease થાય છે તો એ exhausted જ રહે છે, બહાર નથી આવતું. So this exhaustion is a key word, right? Prostration is a key word. And the reaction is indifference, apathy, કઈ ફરક નથી પડતો, just go, nothing is working, listless, resignation, mental prostration, right? Mental prostration. Any stimulus goes to complete apathy, stupor. કોઈ પણ stimulus, the reaction is this. Takes no notice, lies like a log, utterly regardless of surrounding, intestinal hemorrhage, blood dark like cerebral typhoid. So it is one of the sepsis remedy. One of the sepsis remedy. Typhoid માં સરના ઘણા cases છે. શું કીધું સરના? Arsenic and acid force ના. There are many cases of typhoid. Because this is a notorious infection. If the person is weak, immediately they succumb into the ulceration of intestine. Because intestinal. This is constant concomitant of acid force inhalants. Mentally they are stupor apathy, physically they are hemorrhagic like log. Total communication, they want communication like phosphorus, total communication. So acid is easy breaking and bonding of relations. Attachment માં સરે કીધું છે genesis માં traits માં તમારે attachments પૂછવાના કે ભાઈ patients ના attachment બધા સાથે bondings કેવા છે. Carcinosin has different attachments, acids has different attachment, vegetables has different attachment, phosphorus has different, magnesium attachment and natrium attachment we will see different. So acids easily breaking and bonding. બરાબર? જોડી દે. નાઇટ્રિક એસિડ જોડે જ નહીં. બરાબર? અને ફ્લોરિક એસિડ બોન્ડ કરે છે. So easy breaking is acid flow, right? અને never bond is છે ને apological. Never move by, never forgive and forget. Acid nitrate. Because of weakness of inherited genes, they cannot stand. So weakness is a key like Thuja, right? This genes is not expressed. There is a weakness of genes in genetic. So in genesis they runs through weakness, all acids. Sorama પણ કઈ weakness હોય. Sorama પણ, psychosis માં પણ અને syphilis. There is a different attributes and facets of weakness throughout the life of acids. So we have mental debility. One has spinal debility. Picric acid has spinal debility. Right? Acid mu has pathological debility. So every individual, every acid has its own debility. So some are going from mind to body, some are going from body to mind. This is the latest concept you have to go. Not only the mind is affected and body is disturbed. Sometimes body is also affected and mind get disturbed. Right? So patient na reaction mind to body છે, body to mind છે, you have to also look. So બધા key word છે acids na weakness, debility, exhaustion, frustration, given up, innervation is a key word for all this. આ બધાના different rubrics છે. બધી જ acid હશે because this is the core. Right? Free secretions are free, so they are drained out. Nothing is vital inside. Clinical tips check. Urine, milky urine with hematuria, with polyuria in any neurological given case. Urine માં phosphate waste દેખાય. એલન્સ એવું કીધું છે. Neurological case માં phosphate waste દેખાય. Urine માં. Particularly with milky urine. Right? A lot of albumins and porphyria has milky urine, chyluria, now known as. When there is a milky urine with given complication in any neurological case, acid force is one of the remedy. Onanism with guilt like staphysagria, diasporia, but diasporia is like buffo, dull and lascivious. Diasporia again will come. Diasporia is dull and lascivious. Staphy is dignity, not the debility. I am weak is staphysagria, is acid force. I am weak is acid force. And I cannot defend because of my dignity is staphysagria. So guilt is different. With irresistible desire to masturbate, the sexual impulse cannot control is justice ego. Onanism with guilt, but irresistible tendency, they cannot control, sir thoughts control નથી થતા, is justice ego. Boring, probing, digging, pain in nerves of extremities, necrosis in stump after amputation, are the pathological particular. You can see and prescribe in advanced pathological cases. You can read the Allens and the clinical materia medica, Boring, Clark, where you can directly enter into the gross pathological changes. there are a lot of pathologies given. એ લોકોએ એની લાઈફ એ પર્ટિક્યુલર ક્લિનિકલ એન્ટિટી પર્ટિક્યુલર બુક પર કાઢી નથી, only on clinicals and repeatedly verified and confirmed, so it is very important, particularly in pathological cases. We can make out the pathological prescription for sure, not only the genetic but pathological prescription આપણે કરી શકીએ. At least we have follow-ups. Patient follow-up આપશે તો આપણે કંઈક next prescription would be there, right? Often relieve the pain of cancer. Nowadays the cancer is, so it is one of the remedy, pain in amputated necrous limb. Necrous limb, there is no pain because there is no muscularity. Amputated, this is a clear cut given, pain in amputated necrous limb. Other diligent acid is oxalic acid. Acid nitric, angry, never forgive and forgets. So that discontent remains the same. That could be also a delirium. Discontent of nitric acid could be a delirium. એ છોડવા જ નથી માંગતું સાહેબ, એને વર્ષો ભરેલું આ જે કંઈક છે ને એ છોડવા જ નથી માંગતી, right? That lead to the nitric acid into the cancerous state because innerly they are just corrosive. Fear cancer, fear particularly of cancer. સાહેબ કેન્સર નહીં હોય ને, કેન્સર નહીં હોય ને, રિપોર્ટ્સ કરાવીએ, MRI કરાવીએ, પેટ સ્કેન કરાવીએ, મને લાગે જ છે, લાગે જ છે, લાગે જ છે. Very strong. We stop or continue? Silica. Next. Thank you.
Very nice. The spontaneous approach shows how useful lecture was. And the take-home message is mainly the triamiasmatica study, materia medica study is very important. He had given a beautiful example of pulsatilla and aurum, where their past history and family history is very important, where you can correlate, and patient comes into particular dominant miasm, that is syphilis, but you can correlate it with the past history, so you can get what is the exact triamiasmatic picture of that particular remedy. And the beautiful narration of some chili thirsty remedies like calcarea, phosphorus, and chili thirstless remedies like arsenic, staphylos aureus. Then he had given some keywords like arsenic has got precision, calcarea has got confusion, staphylos aureus has got dignity. Now this acid phos has got this mental exhaustion and all those things. So all these things will definitely going to help you in your day-to-day practice. And there is lots of remedies were discussed with that particular remedies also. So very beautiful narration, and this will going to continue. Goodbye.